And welcome back to the TSF Entertainment Channel. It's your boy Retro CG, and I'm joined by the First Lady of TSF Entertainment, Miss Really Big TV. It's been a minute, it's been a while, but we're back with the jump off.
Yes, took us a little
How
while,
you
but we
doing?
back. We back. I'm good.
How you
How are
doing?
you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm glad
Uh-huh.
to be here tonight. And so we are going to talk about The Best Man, the final chapters. It's season 1, episode 5, The Party. Uh Before I hit you guys with the intro, what was your first thought of the episode after you get that yarn out?
I know. I'm sorry. I am not crazy about the story. I wait to see
Hmm.
where it goes, but I'm not crazy about it.
I told you. I told you. As we got further on down the road, I said you're gonna have some issues. I think we're gonna have the same issues. We'll talk about it after I hit you guys with that intro. And we are back. Okay. All right. So, me, not one of my favorite episodes. It was not one of my favorite
Yeah.
episodes. Certain story arcs for certain characters, I'm liking the direction that they're going, but the overall premise of this episode, I did not care for. So it's New Year's
Yeah.
Eve. It's the day of New Year's Eve in New York, and everyone is gearing up for their New Year's celebration. One thing I do like about where we're at in the story right now, everyone is settled into their lifestyle, and we get to see everyone's day-to-day lifestyle, basically what they are doing from day to day. I think it starts off with Demetrius and Jordan out on a date, and they look like they might be at some type of speakeasy or some type of
Yeah, like
jazz.
a jazz bar or
Yeah,
something.
that's what I was thinking, like a jazz bar or something. And she's enjoying the date, but at the same time, she acts like she would rather be anywhere else but here. And Terry Silver was getting a little too close for comfort. She was like, "Can you scoot your chair over just a little bit?"
I call that man Terry Silver.
And he's trying to give her all the decadence in the world. He's trying to romance her. He's trying to wine and dine her. Where do you think we're going with this? Because after the date with he saw her home, that's exactly what he did. Saw her home. I don't even think he got to get past the door. A kiss on the cheek and good night.
Well, right, nothing. My thing is this. I mean, I don't want to jump ahead, but later on, she tells him, "Listen, I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if I can get past the way you treated me in the past." And so my thing is, why even open up that door again if you don't feel like you can trust this man? And don't get me wrong, if you fine, but why even entertain it? Why go out on dates? Why let? I mean, I understand that he's whining and dining you, making you feel special or whatever, but do all of that, you know?
That was one of the things that I had a grievance with, so to speak, because clearly she doesn't feel like she wants to pursue this, especially as far as a relationship. I mean, she really wants to remain platonic with this dude.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking to myself, like, why even give him the time of day? And he's really pressing. He's not pressing too
Exactly.
hard,
That's
but
why
at
I
the
blame
same
him.
time, you can tell that he's trying to impress her. He's trying to. And the thing about it is, she's on the same level he is financially. So throwing money at her and taking her out to expensive restaurants, and just like in the last episode, we talked about how he was kind of on some stalkerish type stuff when he showed up outside of her apartment at 5 o'clock in the morning with coffee, and you cleared my
Right.
schedule with my assistant. Like, none of that is impressing her. And part of it is because she's a boss in itself. So she's not really going to let any man get that close, let alone one that's already damaged
Right.
her or hurt her in the past. Like, you're wasting your time.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. So yeah, we kind of got a side eye on Terry Silver. We got Terry Silver, child.
So after she gets home from their date, she looks at the invitation to Quentin and Shelby's New Year's Eve party, and it switches to Shelby at home, and she's just having a breakdown. This is the middle of December, 20 degrees outside. She's talking about opening the windows up and turn the fan on. So clearly
she's going through menopause, okay? Because she is hot. This
whole
is going on.
And she refuses to concede to it. Like, she's like, it's hot. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but it's hot to me. So she's trying to get her party planning for their New Year's Eve event. And Quentin seems to be on the phone with maybe one of his father's caretakers or primary caretaker. Maybe like a at-home caretaker type person. We saw in the last episode that Quentin's
it sounds like they got somebody.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I have a delay. I'm sorry. So I'm go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead and make your point.
No, I was just agreeing with you that it seems like there's some sort of caretaker in the house that the father is giving a hard time. They can't seem to keep somebody in there with the father.
Yeah. Imagine that. So, of course, Quentin is, trying to work through those dynamics. And, of course, he kind of wants to get Shelby's opinion on his decision-making about wanting to sell the family business or the hotel. And, he's like, do you think I'm a sellout? And she was like, no, I think you're doing a wonderful thing. You're making next level moves. You're creating your own legacy within your family business. So I kind of support how she is supporting him. You kind of expect her to be kind of money hungry and be like, well, yeah, sell a hotel or whatever. But, she's made her own money. So, she's not thirsty for money or anything like that. And she's not, like how Zamora was, trying to be in the limelight. She really wants to support him in making the best decision that he wants to make for his family business. So I'm really feeling Shelby and Quentin's relationship more than anyone else's at this point.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? Like, out of all of these couples, they're the couple that we're really like
rooting for. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, definitely rooting for them.
They seem to have less toxicity in their relationship versus everyone else's.
So far, it seems like that because they definitely seem to be in a good space. Like, they definitely seem to be in a good space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I think you're going to make a point, or you had a comment.
No, I was just going to the next scene. I wasn't making a point. I was just going to the next scene.
Go ahead and break it down for me then.
Isn't the next scene with Morris Chestnut with his son trying to get him to play football? Is that the next scene?
No. The next scene is Murch at the gym with his coach or trainer.
Oh. My bad. You right. You right. Murch kickboxing. And he seems to be doing really well with it. And his trainer is like, listen, I think you're ready to start sparring. And Murch was like, with people? Like, what do you talking about? He's like, yeah, like I think you're ready for that, you know. And I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit. He actually has this I set up. I think they're trying to build up his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that. I
Mm-hmm.
think the dude flopped. I think you know what I'm saying. I think they're trying to build up his because he probably is good, but he doesn't have that confidence. What do you think?
Um, Initially, when we first got introduced to this storyline, I wasn't really interested in it. But as it evolves, I'm actually really starting to like the direction that Murch's character is going with this, because he needed this balance. He needed this balance because it's kind of going
Mm-hmm.
back to his feelings about not wanting to go to the premiere, is because we have seen Murch in one characterization throughout the whole Best Man series. And now seeing that there's another side to Murch, and seeing that he has feelings, and that the feelings that he sees that his friends have about him, or the impression, or the way that his friends kind of describe him, it's kind of offensive to him. So he's really struggling with that, and really trying to find a balance with his life, the kids, his wife working on this big project for school. He really just needed something just to make him feel good about himself. And so, it's kind of like almost a self-care thing for him. So I'm really liking the direction that they're going in this. And I agree with you. I think that the coach was really trying to build his confidence up, because that's part of the reason why he was there, to just blow off some steam. Well, now the coach is like, I see talent in you. I see potential in you. So yes, this may have started off
Mm-hmm.
as you here wanting to blow off some steam, but I think we can take this to another level. Let's give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. I
So
agree
the
100%.
So the next scene we have is Robyn and her daughter Mia are maybe coming home from school. Maybe she's picking her up from school. They're walking down the street, and they're just kind of having like a little casual conversation or whatever. And they come across maybe a homeless lady, and they offer her some food. And the little girl asked about, "Hey, mom, you just gave away our snacks." And she basically told her, which was a very strong message, a very positive message, that if you have more and you see someone that's struggling, it's okay to give. We have plenty more. So I really, really like that message that she was trying to convey to the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And then here comes her produce guy, Jaha, maybe. I can't remember exactly what his name is right now, but she meets up with the guy that was at the fresh market stand, and he takes her to this old maybe jazz club or something. And I think this is the first time that we really, really seen Robyn pursuing this, wanting to open her own restaurant, but kind of like a pop-up type restaurant. Can you kind of explain to me what type of restaurant she's want? Because she refers to it as a pay-as-you-go. So what type of restaurant is this she's trying to open up?
Oh, I don't know.
I think
It
it's
seems like a regular
something that
restaurant to me, so I don't know.
it was, but when she was speaking to Harper about it, actually they go to the restaurant, and she immediately falls in love with it. And Jaha was like, my friend's the realtor. You can get this pre-market. You got to make a move on it today. This is a really good space. People are,
Yeah, like this is prime real estate.
people got their eyes on it. You got to make a move quick if you want it. So she gets on the phone with Harper, and she tries to
Mm-hmm.
explain to Harper that, hey, I found this space. It's perfect for me. This is what I want. Sight on scene. We need to make an offer on it today. Can you call a realtor and get the details? Ask whatever questions you want to ask. She sent him a video of the space. Um, I kind of want to go piggyback off of her. When he wanted to buy the house, he had to really, really work on her and convince her in wanting to buy a new home. Well, she now expects for him to buy a building and that he hasn't even seen and don't even know all the fine details about the building yet. So I can kind of
Right.
understand
She
him not
called
making a
him
move on
like,
that.
yeah, she called him like, I saw this dress at the store that I want to buy. Go ahead and I'm gonna send you a picture of it. It's a little bit, I don't have enough on my credit card. Can I use like you're buying a whole piece of real estate, like you're buying a whole building. Like I did think, and I mean I get it that he wasn't there and he was off writing and doing what he needed to do, but I did feel like that was a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get it. It was a great opportunity, but and it's not just you're buying a building, you're starting a business. That's a serious conversation. We got to figure out the ins and the outs. You got to get a lawyer. You got to get your stuff set up. You have to get your business. And don't get me wrong. A house is a commitment, but it wasn't just buying the building. It was now once we bought the building, now we got to figure out how you're going to start this restaurant. That's a lot, and it's a lot to decide in a split second. Like you don't just make that serious decision. And I get it. I could even see if they were already shopping, but it sounds like they had talked about it, but they didn't put any effort into it. So I think that was a lot for her to just throw at him and be like, "So what's up? What we gonna do?"
I agree. It was a lot. And you are absolutely right. And that is exactly the same thing that came to my mind was it's not just you buying a building, we're starting a business and it's a restaurant. So one of the most risky businesses to get off the ground is a restaurant. And there's so
Is a
many
restaurant.
things that are involved with
Yep.
a restaurant. A liquor license, you have to deal with the health department. I mean, there is just so many different things that come into starting
Mm-hmm.
a food service type business. And then you're in New York. So that just makes it even more complicated because it's a process, permits, business licenses, liability insurance. There's just so many different things other than, hey, buy this building today and the restaurant's open tomorrow. No, it's not that simple. It's not that simple. So the only thing I would say
Exactly.
to her frustration is he did not make the call to the realtor to ask whatever questions he needed to ask. However, I do think that was
He
not
didn't look into it. Right.
yeah, he didn't look into it. However, I do not think that was a decision that he should have been put on the spot to make over the phone. So going back to your thoughts on it, I agree. I think that should have been just like he took her to the house and gave her an opportunity to look at the house and see what she liked about it, see what she didn't like about it, and offer input. He's in a position right now where he can't offer input. And what if you buy this building? What if this building has so many different problems that you can't even open the restaurant because you're not up to code? So there's so many different things
Right.
that she's not processing that probably going through his mind as he's miles away and not knowing what his wife is wanting to sign him up for. So that to me should have been a conversation over the phone, but not a decision over the phone.
I agree. I agree. The other thing we see is the house is freezing. Something's house and she needs him, and we just see layers of her needing him and him not being there for her. I'm gonna
And
say something
also,
that's probably gonna be a little controversial. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say something. I feel like it's a little controversial. And what I'm gonna say is this: when people say, like, people who end up having affairs and cheating, and they say it just happened, I think a lot of times people be like, it don't just happen. Like it's a thought. Like you walked into it, you did something. But I think we're seeing this progression. Nobody is trying to be the bad person, but we clearly see where this is going. But we saw what led up to it to say, it by any stretch. I'm not excusing it, but how it happened.
I agree. And I don't condone infidelity. However, in this situation, we can see that sometimes affairs are not always intentional. Sometimes affairs
Mhm.
are not always sought after. This is a situation where these two are clearly developing the prelude to an affair. you know, they're both
Mhm.
not crossing the line. Neither one of them have crossed any lines at this point. I don't think that either one of them has done anything. There's some mild flirtation on his part. She's a little bit, like, oh my, like, she's trying her best to ignore it, avoid it, but it's clearly in front of her, and she's not really knowing what to do with this energy. So she's feeling this energy, but she knows that it's wrong for her to get deeper in. And just like um Candace warned her, like, you better be careful. You need to put some distance between you and this dude.
Yep.
Because the
Be
more
careful.
time that you
Yep.
spend around him, the deeper into this black hole you're going to fall. So eventually, this
Mhm.
man is going to become this man that she relies on, where she feels like right now she can't rely on her husband. So he's running to her rescue,
Right.
and he's doing it to be a good friend. I don't think he's doing it to try. I don't think he's pressing her. I think he might be feeling her, but I don't think he's really trying to.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's not, but he's also seeing this as an opportunity. Your man ain't here to do these things for you. I am. So eventually, we know where this is going to end up. We know where this is going to end up. At least the way they're writing it is very is a very big possibility that Robyn and Jaha may end up, crossing the line. So we'll see where that goes.
Mhm.
So I think we're now at your scene with
Yep.
Lance and LJ are
And his
watching
son.
some maybe highlight tapes of some potential players that they want to draft for the team. And you could just see in LJ's facial expression that he'd rather be anywhere else in the world but here. And I couldn't see how his father didn't see his disinterest. Like, but he's so enamored and so wrapped up in watching the
I'm about to say he
video.
sees what he wants to see. Yeah.
Yeah,
He sees what he wants to see.
that he doesn't even see that his son is not interested in this. And he's kind of rescued by his sister Faith calling, who's at home trying to take the Christmas tree down by herself. She has a freak out moment because she broke one of Mia's ornaments. Why I feel like this is the same ornament that she might have broke in Best Man Holiday, but that's neither here or there because she broke an ornament in Best Man Holiday, but maybe they repaired it. But the daughter is kind of, having a come apart. She complains that she's not getting any help trying to get the Christmas decorations down. And, Lance is trying to console her and, let her know, I'll help you when I get home, whatever. LJ uses this time to skirt up out of there to go hang out with Kennedy. And Lance's first thought
Right.
is,
Step out of there
you
real
sweet
quick.
cousin, that's your cousin. Like, me and your her dad are best friends or whatever. That's like your cousin or whatever. He's like, no, it's not even like that. But you're right. He sees what he wants to see.
Yep. Yep. So then we see them hanging out. We see the son.
Well, hold a minute. I had one more question. So is this
Oh.
is Lance supposed to be what, like assistant coach now?
He's still the coach. I mean, I don't know if he's actually an assistant coach or a recruiter or a mentor. I'm not sure, but he's definitely on the coaching staff.
Okay. That's what I was
sure
trying to figure out.
exactly what title it is.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out because I knew that he had made a decision, or they had decided in the last episode that he was not going to play anymore. So, okay, so he has a position on the coaching team. Okay, got it. So, Kennedy and LJ are at home. Go ahead, you get to see.
Mm-hmm. No, they're in the room. They're hanging out, and of course, she's talking to, he's talking to Kennedy and saying, Dad doesn't get me. I don't know if I ever be able to really tell him. He's not hearing me. And she's a brat, but she seems to be a good friend to him. And she's like, listen, you got to live your life, and you'll be who you gonna be.
Yeah.
And start playing the wigs, the makeup, and we see them having a good time. And who comes walking in? um,
Yeah.
Kennedy's dad comes walking in, and he plays it cool, but he was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, that just took him. That just he didn't know how to process that. That's almost kind of like walking in on her having sex. That's the kind of reaction he had. He had a very like, I don't even know what to do with this type
Right.
situation. He knows that this is
And
going to be a big thing.
and I thought it was funny that he knew who to call. Like he immediately knew who he needed to call. Like he was like, "Did you know about this? Like, what the hell?" And it was funny. It was she, Nia Long's character was trying to explain. They ended up on a four-way call. They ended up calling Money. They didn't want to call him. They said he can't keep a secret. And Shelby still hot as hell. It was a funny while they were talking about a serious situation. And what I
It
thought
was
was funny was that the whole time they were talking, my boy Terrence Howard, I can't remember these people's name, but Terrence Howard's character which is a very metrosexual thing to do. I'm not saying that makes you gay, but I'm just saying that was funny that he's sitting there filing his nails the whole time they're having this conversation. I think that was on purpose. I don't think that was by accident.
I thought so too. Listen, I was going to bring that up. That was very metrosexual. And he was like, he's trying to process cisgender and non-binary. He's like, what the hell is all these terms you're using while he's sitting here filing his nails? I thought that was too funny. And he's like,
Right.
so you knew about this? And he's basically telling Jordan that, listen, you need to tell Lance about this. And she's like, no, it's not my place. It's not my
Yeah.
place to tell Lance about this, and it's not your place to tell Lance about this. Like at this point, we just need to keep it a secret and let LJ confront his father on his own terms, on their own terms, and let LJ deal with this situation when they decide to deal with this situation, which I can understand that part of it, but Quentin is just like, I don't know what the hell to do with this. And I don't want to be a part of this because I know that shit gonna hit the fan when it does come out, and I don't want Lance, because we know that Lance is a hothead. And we know that Lance is gonna have a fit with everyone when he finds out that everyone knew this and he did it. So I can understand why Quentin is a little bit concerned about the longer it takes for Lance to find out about this, the worse off it's going to be on all of us, because he's going to hold us just as equally accountable, because we are his best friends and we knew something that was going to possibly turn his world upside down, and we sat on it. So that's a hard place to be in, a close friend.
That's
But
a hard
it ain't
place
your
to be
story.
in. That's a hard place to be.
I felt Jordan though. I have to roll with Jordan on this. It ain't your story to tell. So even though this may do harm to
And
our
you're
friendship,
talking about. I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying. I was just saying that I agree with you. Like it's not your story to tell.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just not.
yeah,
And you're right. There are consequences to the friendship, but it's just not your story to tell.
right. And so I think that Jordan is, she's just trying to see where this is going to go. And at this point, Lance has not really come to terms with how he necessarily wants to deal with the situation. So, he hasn't made up his mind about the whole situation. So, I think it would be a little bit obtuse for them to go run off and tell such a personal thing in regards to someone's sexuality. So I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
So again,
We can skip the next
yeah, Murch at the kickboxing gym again. Yeah, we already talked about that. We know where that's going.
Yeah.
We are
So
back
then we
at
see
Jordan's
that's
apartment.
then we right, and we already talked about the conversation. So now we're just gonna talk about the date. Um, old Terry Silver wants to spend New Year's Eve with her. He wants to take her to Paris for New Year's Eve, and that's when she lets him know, listen, I just ain't invited to a party, and no, I didn't invite you, and no, I don't want to go to Paris. I just don't trust you, because like you said, flying to Paris doesn't impress her because she can take herself. Like I think
Yeah.
he's used to the type of women where that probably impresses them. Like if a dude hit me up and be like, "Yo, I'm flying you to Paris for New Year's Eve. Let's go." You might impress me, but for somebody who can do it for themselves, like you said, that's not too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
that don't move her. Like she was like, that sounds nice, but nah. And that's she tells him, look, I don't know you. Like I said at the beginning, if you can't if you us to keep.
Yeah. And she's like, you know what? I'd rather be with my friends anyway. So and I think that was a little too personal for her because at this point, that's kind of going beyond just going on a date and I can go home at the end of the date. This is going away for the weekend type deal. This is going away on an overnight trip. So this is
Mm-hmm.
like moving way too fast for her.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute now. This we can hang out and have some dinner and some drinks or whatever the case may be. At this point, it's just conversation. But now you're talking about going and sharing a room, sharing a bed, going on an overnight trip. I'm not signing up for that. I'm going to my homegirl party. You know her. And no, I didn't invite you. So enjoy yourself in Paris. I'm gonna enjoy
Right.
myself.
Right. Right. And no, I didn't say you could come with me.
uh, damn, Jordan playing with Terry. Terry Silver. Demetrius is his name. But they sit down and again he's trying to impress her by making dinner. And he talks about this place that he went um somewhere out of the country. He learned how to make this pasta dish. And again, she's not bothered. She's not impressed. And she starts having this headache. And she asks him to go get the Imitrex off of the counter. And he's like, well, no, let me hold your hand. And he goes into this thing about how he had ulcers and how he learned how to calm his body down. So we see that she's still experiencing medical issues, headaches, migraines, most likely is what she's having, which has probably been brought on by the amount of workload that she has. Her workload, the stress from that workload, and her trying to always keep it together and be poised and always ready to be in producer mode, but she doesn't focus on self-care at all. And so I think it started to take a toll on her, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily so much physically, but it's just stress. And we know that stress induces all types of ailments um, that she needs to deal with. My question to you is, what do you think is happening with her?
I mean, I think the same thing. I think it's stress. I think she's probably. I mean, I didn't even honestly. That scene didn't hit me no kind of way. Like I was just like, oh, she got a headache. I really didn't. Maybe if they do it a couple of more times, I would think something of it. I just took it as a way for him to be like, once again, show, yeah, I learned this technique. Like I took it as another example of him being, yeah, let me hold your hand and caress it and get rid of you. You know what I mean? So I didn't even look at it from that aspect. So I don't know. Maybe that's something to be on the lookout for. This evolves into something bigger. But
Oh,
I
I
didn't
never
even think
thought
of it
about it
like
that
that.
way. I didn't think of it your way either. So we both got different theories where this could be going, and it could be both. Because you see, when he started talking about that New Year's Eve trip, she slid her head up out of
Yeah.
his real quick. She's like, no. Paris sounds nice for you, not for me. Now let me get my hand back
Right.
and let's
You're
enjoy
gonna have
the
fun down by the Eiffel Tower.
right. Let's go ahead and eat this dinner. It's getting cold, and you got to get home before dark. So Um, Lance is scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, or something like that, and accidentally FaceTimes Jasmine. I thought that was funny. He
Right.
accidentally FaceTime. And I really like them. I really like where they're going with them. From the first interaction between the two of them, I said, okay, yeah, she's probably going to end up being his new Mia. She's probably going to end up becoming his new Mia. So there seems to be some interest there on both ends, or whatever the case may be. He tries to play it off that he accidentally
I
called
like
her.
they slow walked it. Like I like that this is a slow climb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think they're going at a pace kind of wants to put you in the mindset of maybe the same pace that him and Mia may have went at as well. So I think actually he was on her Instagram. I think he might have been on her Instagram page just trolling and accidentally called her. He tried to play it off too, like I didn't mean to call you. And he don't know how to act when she's on the FaceTime with him. So I thought that was real neat
Right.
that they're doing a slow burn with this, and they're not making her thirsty for him either. So I kind of like that too. Where it's the
Right.
same thing that we're saying about Jordan. You know, she's not chasing behind this man. She's not chasing behind him either. But she is interested. She is interested, but
Yeah.
she's really trying to feel him out, see where his head at, and how you trying to approach me. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see more of them as well. I think we're going to see more of them together as well. Um, One of the daughters. So we're over at Candace and Murch's house, and I don't know why. Um, Candace is. I'm not gonna say she's not focused on what's going on with her family right now, but at the same time, it almost kind of seems like um, one of the daughters is kind of like trying to figure out an outfit or something to wear to the New Year's Eve party, and then the other daughter don't really want to go. She just wants to chill. Is that another talking point for the anxiety? Why did the other daughter not want to go to the party?
I'm not sure why they didn't want to go. Oldest daughter was definitely dealing with anxiety over having the right dress because she said Kennedy is always so put together and so sophisticated that she doesn't want to look like she doesn't want to embarrass herself, and so I think that the younger one though, I'm the younger one, but definitely the older one, didn't want to be bothered. I mean, was dealing with anxiety. I don't know about the younger one though.
Yeah, she definitely didn't want to be bothered. She almost said she didn't want to be bothered. She's like, I'm going on if I want to. I don't want to go. I'm gonna stay home and watch TV. And that's what she
Right.
did. She watch TV.
And so she just
Uh,
didn't want to be bothered. And maybe
yeah.
she's just at that age where she's old enough, she's young enough that she can't go out, but she's old enough to stay home by herself. And she's like, I don't want to hang out with my parents and their friends. You teenagers get to a point where, they're like, I don't want to hang out with my parents and their friends. And she was too young to really be with Kennedy and that crew. So she doesn't really have anywhere to fit in.
And you know what? You're right. She is too young to be hanging out with her parents' friends. I agree with that. Yeah. And it's like they said when they got over there to the
Yeah.
party, it
So
was like, they're old enough to stay home and mind themselves. If they don't want to go, they don't want to go. Simple as that.
even though they got into the stash, but that's a whole nother.
uh, right. It sure did. Uh, why do you think that Murch has not decided to tell Candace about the kickboxing?
I don't know. Maybe he just wants something for himself, you know?
Uh, it's some me time. I don't know what it is about Candace and Murch that remind me of Maxine and Kitty from Soul Food. And Maxine and Kitty house from Soul Food. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Every time they show that house, I think about Maxine and Kitty from Soul Food. I don't know why. uh, the
It
daughter has,
does. Okay. It's I can see it's familiar.
yeah, it just, I don't know what it is about it, but it just reminds me of Maxine and Kitty. And you know, the whole family just reminds me of them from Soul Food. So that means I got to watch a little bit of Soul Food. But I think one of the daughter has a moment, and you know, Candace tries to calm her and get her relaxed, and you know, that's when they make the decision that you know you can stay home, you have to go to the party, or whatever the case may be. I think the other daughter end up staying home with them as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's much to this storyline with anxiety other than the fact that Candace is looking for organic ways to treat the daughter's anxiety. She's kind of against using medication. She wants to use natural remedies for the anxiety. So I think we'll see more of that, but I don't think it's going to go beyond other than her wanting to get some other type of therapeutic type of treatment for the daughter's anxiety. Robyn's at home wrapped up in a blanket. She is cold. She is cold. It is 65 degrees in that brownstone, and she don't know what to do with herself. Jaha come over there with some space heaters, and he comments to her necklace that says that her husband bought for her or whatever, and he gives her a nice little Happy New Year hug. And I think that she might have heated up at that point. Didn't need the blanket anymore because you can see it written on her face.
Heat it up.
She heated up a little bit. She warmed up a little bit when he gave her that hug, you know, and brought the heaters over there. Again, is as you exactly said earlier, we are seeing this as a slow progression that this man is not home and another man is taking care of your wife and daughter. Now, I'm not saying that the man is wrong. If the man was out gallivanting over town, hanging out at the club or whatever, I could see this. The man is out working. So, and they're not in a position where they can go together. She wants to stay home and do her grassroots movement with this shelter thing that she's doing and the cooking and thing. And her husband is trying to stabilize his career. So they are on opposite sides of careers.
Right.
And
they have
neither
a
one
daughter
of
that's
them,
in school.
and they have a child that's in school. We get to the Shelby's and Quentin's party, which is beautifully decorated. I like the gold and silver theme. I
Yeah, that
really
black
like
and
that.
gold was that black and gold was beautiful.
And silver, that was really, really nice. I really like that. So that should be the thing for our New Year's party whenever we throw one. That's going to be the thing. So they really kind of remind me of what New Year's has been like with me when I've hung out with friends and done the friend thing with the New Year's. They're just old friends getting together, celebrating, bringing in a new year together. At this point, they're beyond old friends; they're a family, and so they're really trying to find themselves where they're at in their lives right now. You know, Candace is feeling a little guilty about being there and not at home with the girls. Murch is like, listen, we got an adult buffet here of all these delectable treats. We need to enjoy
they had the
ourselves.
edibles.
He was like, forget them kids. He was like, let's focus on us tonight. I like that. I really like that. Robyn probably should have stayed home, but I can understand why she showed up. She didn't really want to be home alone. But at the same time, with the mood and energy that she came with, it probably would have just been best for her to stay at home with that same mood and energy, because it really was a downer for her when she saw everyone else, coupled up, and she's off to the side, don't really have nobody to talk to. And she's not really close friends with any of them there. She's just a friend by marriage. Quentin and the little sassy ass Gare is fussing because she won Jingle Ball tickets or whatever, and he didn't get them for her because she brought home bad grades from school. And she sass off at him about her feelings about him not giving her the tickets. And finally, he asked the question. 5 episodes later, he finally asked, "Why aren't you calling me dad?" Okay. I feel like that should have been a topic that should have already been addressed, and that should have been a sit-down conversation. And Kennedy, you know that I am your biological father. So I may have not been introduced to you initially as your father, but I'm your father. You can at least call me dad. So I think that is because it came up and it finally came out. I think that we're finally going to get that addressed. And I think that this was maybe just a prelude to that. But I think
that's the one thing that I feel like. I'm sorry. That's the one thing I do feel like they dropped the ball on, because I never understood why they didn't address that. Like, immediately.
Yeah, it should have been addressed that night on the FaceTime when Shelby and Quentin called her from the island to tell her that they had gotten married, and she let the cat out the bag that Kennedy's always been yours. That should have been addressed. If it wouldn't address in that episode, it should have carried over into the next episode where it was the morning after, and here's the conversation. But I think because they finally brought it up, and because they waited so late to bring it up in the story, I think that we're going to see more of that. Lance gets to the party
because I again. No, go ahead. I was just saying they need to address it.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're going to address it. Lance gets to the party, and
no, I was just saying it needs to be addressed.
Oh yeah, I said they're going to address it. I think they're going to address it. I definitely think they're going to address it. Lance gets to the party, and he's pretty much kind of like talking with everyone and kind of giving everyone an update on what's going on with him, kind of getting everyone else's update. Murch is high as a kite and getting ready to let the cat out the bag because he made a comment about LJ not wanting to play football anymore. And Murch and Shelby was on point. Shelby was on point because Murch was getting ready to let the cat out the bag and like, oh, LJ doesn't want to play football anymore? Is that because he's... And Shelby was like, oh, let's get the music on. Let's get some drinks going. Like, why are we sitting here talking? Like, but ironically, she's the one that ends up letting the cat out the bag. But she did defense in this particular moment. She ran interference in this. She ran a pass interference in this particular situation, but she ended up letting the cat out the bag. So that was kind of ironic. Again, I felt like Robyn should have stayed her ass at home because she's sitting there sulking and mad with her husband. She can't get him on the phone. He can't get a flight home for New Year's Eve. She's just miserable at this point. And I think she has good reason to be disappointed that her husband's not there. But again, he's not there because he doesn't want to be there. He's there because he's trying to make a life better for you guys. But we see that they're slowly drifting apart.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
And that I'm kind of disappointed about. That. I know that you've always said, and pretty much everyone has always said that Robyn and Harper were the least favorite characters in The Best Man. And I guess because of how we got introduced to her character, he wasn't really feeling her to begin with. And we all know that he belongs with Jordan, wants to be with
Listen,
Jordan. So this is a convenience marriage.
I have always said that even in the first movie, I never felt chemistry with them. I never did. I mean, I think they like each other a lot and they probably do love each other, but I don't think it's that deep, passionate, you are the one. I never felt that. And I mean, honestly, I can remember, and I know it was 20 years ago, but I can remember watching the first Best Man, and I remember we went to see it in the theater, and I remember leaving the theater going, that don't even make no sense. I never felt it. I did.
Well, I'll tell you what. I remember that scene of them in the bathtub, and she asked him, did he love her, and he avoided the L word. Um, but I think that the writer has done a very good job pulling us back into that moment again, 20 years later, pulling us back into that moment because it clearly shows now, after all these years, it showed even in Best Man Holiday, it showed. It wasn't as strong because there was a bigger narrative that was going on in Best Man Holiday with Mia passing. But
Right.
now I think they're doing a very good job pulling all that together, pulling it all together from inception that y'all weren't a perfect match for each other. Y'all were a compatible match, but you weren't a match made in heaven. Y'all weren't each other's soulmates. So yeah, you were compatible and you guys end up
Right.
producing a child. So there's love that's there, but it's not deep love. It's not passion.
Right.
And
You
I
check
feel
the
like right
box.
now,
Right.
and I feel like right now she's developing passion for this other dude that's working this fruit stand.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a
I
fruit
agree
stand, but that's what I'm
100%.
calling it. It's not a fruit stand, but that's what I'm calling it. A fruit
Say
stand.
that's
It's
terrible.
fruit
But
stand.
right. But I agree with you 100%. But you know what though? Even with that, the thing I'm loving about about this series is this is life. In life, you don't get it right the first time sometimes. And maybe the person you were supposed to be with, it wasn't the right time. You met them at the wrong point in your life, but they were the right person. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's just real. And for all the time,
Wow, that
different
was
reasons.
real
And sometimes it
powerful.
works out.
That was a real powerful statement right there. I have to agree with that. Sometimes the people that we meet in our life, we may not meet them at the right time, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're not the right person. Just not at the right time,
Mhm.
not your season. And that's exactly
Yeah.
what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Shelby's trying to tell Jordan that she need to give
Yep.
this man a try or let this man go. Like, what you gonna do? And basically the same thing that we're saying. Like, you keep going out on dates with this man, you keep hanging out with this man, but you ain't trying to give him none. You ain't trying to take it nowhere. Like, you need to go on, jump on this plane, go to Paris with this dude, or you need to leave him alone. Like, what you gonna do? And she's right. Like, you need to make a decision as to how you want this man to be in your life, because he's trying to pursue a romantic
Mhm.
relationship with you. You're not interested. But then she does the most stupidest thing and texts him Happy New Year and I wish you were here. Like, that's an invitation. And are you not
Well, he took
surprised
it
he
as
showed
one
up?
because he showed up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are you not surprised why he showed up? That was an invite. Like, you should have texted him the day after and said Happy
But
New
she was
Year.
happy to see him when he showed up. She was happy to
She
see him.
seemed like she seemed like she was happy to see him, but was she happy to see him because she wanted to see him, or was she happy to see him because she had just gotten that advice from Shelby and she felt like that was the right thing to do? See, I felt like that was a in the moment reaction. I don't feel like she truly, earnestly wanted to actually say, you know what, she's right. I need to give this dude a chance. I think she just said, well, you know what, they might be right, and he's pressing on me, he's feeling me. Let's see what he's talking about or whatever. I think that was just. because I'm not gonna say peer pressured, but I feel like she was kind of guilted into doing it. I don't think that she really truly was even genuinely interested. Because did she end up going to Paris with him, or did he just come over and not go on his trip?
Well, we don't know. We know how the party ended, so that's where the episode ended. So we don't know what they did after the party was over.
Yeah.
Hell, after the way that party ended, I wanted to go to Paris.
Right. Hey, I'll be like, is it still too late to charter that plane? We can leave right now. Kennedy
okay,
and LJ,
can we go now?
We can go right now. Kennedy and LJ are laying up there in the room or whatever, and they looking at the video that they had made the other day of him with the wig on and dancing and whatever. And I think he finally comes to the decision that because they were talking about how much they liked the video and they wanted to post it, and like, oh, I can never post this. And eventually he was like, he told him just to go ahead and post it. Shelby has a Finsta account to spy on her daughter and gets the notification. Why she chose to put this up on the TV, I have no idea. She can't see. And Candace,
she didn't. Yeah, because when she first pulled it up, it was the girl. It wasn't him. You missed the part. Hold on real quick. Lance found out the girl never got married, that Jasmine never got married. And so he called her and they had like a whole little flirty New Year's Eve call.
Oh, I forgot all about that. I forgot all about that scene. Either he FaceTime her or she FaceTime him. Somebody FaceTime somebody to tell them Happy New Year. And I think he mentioned something about her being with her husband or whatever. And she was like, oh, I ain't got no husband. I didn't get married. You're right. And another point I missed too, we missed. Robyn got the text from old boy that the restaurant
and Lance
got sold.
Talking.
No.
Yeah.
Robyn got the text from her produce guy that the restaurant got sold, and she got upset. And that's when Lance went and checked on her. I like how he ended his call with her, like, hey, I gotta go take care of something, but I'll call you back. But I thought that was a real best friend thing to do when you see your best friend's wife upset to go and try to console her.
He told him, he's like, your wife needs you. Yeah.
Yeah, and he texted him and told him that your wife needs you. I really thought that was a real best friend thing to do. I really liked that scene. That was real powerful. And he put her into a cab and sent her home. He saw that she was struggling with being there tonight. She was upset about the restaurant. Like, you know what? It's probably best that you go on home. And he put her in the cab and sent her on her way. I was like, okay.
You need to get your ass back here.
Yeah.
Real quick. You need to get your ass here. Yeah.
Because you ain't finna have no wife when you get home. And
it's about to be a problem, sir.
And listen, it would surprise me that when he got home that she wasn't there. So, yeah. So go ahead and take us out with the last scene.
So Shelby is checking on the daughter, and she sees the daughter's Instagram, and she sees that she saw the video, but she put it up on the screen. Not really anything of it, I don't think. That's when, because remember, everybody in the room knows at this point, they know that Lance's son is non-binary. Everybody know but Lance at this point. I don't think Robyn knew, but everybody else knew. Isn't her name Robyn?
Yes. I don't think Robyn knew, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she knew, but everybody else knew. So it's up on the screen, and you see the son with the wig on and the dress. And just as that moment, of course, Lance comes walking in. And he realized that's his son up on that screen in a dress and a wig. And two, he realizes that everybody knew but him. So he's shocked, he's upset, So that's where
And
we
that
are with
was
it.
that was a very difficult way for him to find out about that in front of all his friends that knew, right? And of course, he goes downstairs and he does the typical reaction that we expected him to have, that we was waiting for him to have. He made LJ wipe the makeup off. We're going home right now. He's in denial. He was like, "Are you gay? Do you want to be a man? Do you want to be a woman? I want to be both." So he's having a hard time trying to really understand what is it that he's seeing here? What is it that I'm hearing? And so I think the next few episodes are going to be a very emotional roller coaster for him and processing that. And for that part of the story, it's taking me away from my best man roots. And I get that we are evolving the characters, but there's so many other stories that I feel like we need to be focused on instead of creating another narrative. Because at this point, Robyn has been imbalanced ever since they went to that island for Quentin's wedding. It started with her when she met that lady at the shack, and the lady was cooking for them or whatever. It's been present since then that she's wanted to get her own restaurant, and we're just now getting to the point where she's pursuing that opportunity. Then I don't know, maybe Tay Diggs had other commitments, because it seems like he's been gone for a couple episodes now, right?
Yeah, 2 episodes.
Yeah, he's been gone for 2 episodes, so maybe he was shooting something else at the
Yeah, maybe
time.
he could film. Maybe he may have had other commitments. Yeah, that might have been
Yeah,
it. I didn't think about that. He may have had other commitments, but they had to write him out for a minute. Yeah.
I think that's what it is, because the reason why I feel like that's what it is because they would have shown him somewhere else. Because at this point, they haven't even given us a voiceover. They haven't even given us a voiceover when they're on the phone with him. It's always a text, or just like when Quentin was like, when they called him, he's like, "Oh, I don't have no service." So I think they had to write him out just for a little bit because he was probably filming something else. But I think that maybe in the next episode or two he'll be back, and let's see what that energy is like. So maybe we're getting this little thing with Robyn because they were forced to have to write him out for temporarily, and so maybe this reaction that we're getting from her is because of that. They wrote that part in the story, so we'll see. All right, so I gave this episode about a 7.5, 7.5. All right. Well, we will be back to
say. Wait a minute. The last thing we missed was when Murch and his wife went home. The kids got into the stash and they was high, and because I don't know if that's important later on, but yeah.
Well,
that was funny.
I think it is going to be important later on because what's her name already experimenting with marijuana for municipal purposes. So I guess it's probably going to be important to the story later on. All right, so we will be back to break down 6, 7, and 8. We need to go ahead and get 6, 7, and 8 on out here, and give us our overall thoughts of the season.
Right, and be on the lookout. Yeah, be on the lookout over the next couple of start getting ready, gearing up for season 2 of Bel-Air. We're going to do some character breakdowns. We're going to kind of review season 1, not rehash everything, but kind of talk about the main storylines of season 1. So we'll be ready. It's week, so time isn't on our side, but be on the lookout. Be on the lookout.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Peace.